Throughout film history, movies have told us that God exists. In the movies, God watches over us and protects us from harm. In the movies, miracles are possible. The sick are healed. The blind can see. In the movies, God loves us, and believing in God is reward in itself. But in 1957, one film appeared that challenged all those ideas. The movie was The Seventh Seal.
Slutar du aldrig att fråga?
Nej. Jag slutar aldrig.
And telling the story of a knight who must play a game of chess with the manifestation of death, Seventh Seal dared to suggest that God doesn't love us. In fact, God didn't even exist at all. This wasn't the story of love and miracles. This was a film about the plague, about death, that dared to suggest that God itself was dead. More than 50 years after its initial release, Seventh Seal continues to endure with audiences even to this day. So why is this? Well, just give me a few minutes of your time, and let's go back and take a closer look at the Seventh Seal. Now, the first thing that hits you about the Seventh Seal is the color, or maybe it's the lack of color. This is a gray and bleak world, one that appears to be devoid of all life. In the midst of all this grayness, we meet our main character, a knight named Antonius Block, who has returned home from fighting the Crusades to find the land consumed by plague and death. In fact, death itself is a character in this film, a character whom Block must play a game of chess with if he wants to live. Now, this game is important because the black and white of the chessboard and the black and white of the film symbolize the central conflict of the Seventh Seal, which is life versus death. Now, in this film, the polarities of life and death appear throughout. As far as the idea of death goes, death-related imagery can be found everywhere in this film. For instance, the dead bodies of plague victims lay strewn everywhere. And in the face of all this death and dying, people victimize and turn on one another. In fact, in one scene, an innocent woman is burned alive because she has been accused of bringing the plague to a village by consorting with the devil. However, amongst all this death, there is the idea of life. There is the idea of hope. That hope takes the form of a traveling family who were also a group of actors named Joff and Mia. Now, Joff and Mia are important because in a world where everything is being destroyed by death, they've created a life together. They've created a child, and through their acting, they create art. Now, what's interesting is how Joff and Mia deliberately resemble Joseph and Mary from the Bible, the parents of Jesus. So in a land devoid of proof of God's existence, this family, through their art, brings a small glimmer of hope to the people of this plague-ravaged world. The concept of life and death come to a head in one bizarre scene. Now here, Joff and Mia are performing a comic sketch in a small village. Because of their performance, the villagers are laughing and smiling, and for a moment they forget how miserable things are. Then suddenly, the performers stop, and the comic play is interrupted by a different performance. A performance in the form of a procession of self-abusing monks. Suddenly, the villagers must stop thinking about this life and start contemplating the next life. So, while the actor's performance was creative and emphasized joy, this procession of monks emphasizes punishment, death, and what they believe God is punishing them for. It's a powerful scene, but it also may reveal the balance between the contrasting ideas of life and death. If plague and suffering bring death, then art and creativity can be a force for life. You know, I feel like I've only scratched the surface of this movie. There really are so many different layers and elements to it that could only be understood through multiple viewings of the film. So I encourage you to seek out The Seventh Seal and other films like it. Watch it. It's an evocative and intelligent movie. Thanks for listening. Please subscribe to my channel and post comments below. Thank you.